Do you have social anxiety? Do you struggle with it? Have you been struggling with it for a while? And also, are you an Asian? There is social anxiety and there is being Asian. There's a distinctly unique problems that actually attach to when you are born in subcontinent, born in Southeast Asia. So this video is for you. At the end of this video, you're gonna learn how to liberate yourself from the social anxiety, at least to a great extent. You would know what causes it, what's the root cause, and how to change your environment, how to change in very, very practical, simple ways to overcome the social anxiety that has been haunting you. Because if you are a business owner, if you are a salesman, if you want to work up your career ladder, if you want to become a corporate leader, promotion, if you want to get a girl wants to get a guy, whatever, if you want to be socialized with friends, etc. No matter what areas that I mentioned, I can go on still. This social anxiety is going to be a huge stumbling block. So for all good reasons, it's absolutely important that you go deep dive into this root cause and eliminate it for good. Can it be done? It can be done. So let's crack on. Number one. So when you say social anxiety, what comes to your mind? Usually when it comes to social anxiety, people attach that with communication, right? So communication as in if you want to pitch in front of a huge audience, if you want to deliver a speech. There's a funny thing that in a funeral house and this person's dead in a coffin, and if someone asks you're the person who's going to make a speech, there are a lot of people who wish that they are in the coffin instead of in front of the mic. So this is the anxiety to communicate, speak. It's actually a global problem, and like I said, South Asia has the unique aspect of it. So social anxiety is attached with communication. It could be even individual. There are people who just sit in front of individuals, still struggle to talk. You don't have to have a large audience. So that is attached with communication. Secondly, you're attached with doing something. Start up that new skill. It could be a sport. It could be a musical instrument. It could be something else. Starting that business, video production or video recording, like starting something new and executing that. That also is kind of subtly attached, sometimes not subtly, but sometimes directly attached with social anxiety, because you have been haunting with fear of judgment. So those are the two things that actually attached mainly with social anxiety. Now we're going to deep dive what causes it. And once you philosophically, it says that when the root cause is exposed, the problem is half dead. So let's crack on. Okay, like I said, we've been born in Asia, and we have fantastic childhood, and we have really good support system from our family. Mostly have really high morals. They instill us great morals, get great discipline. They look after us. They take care of us. All that is amazing compared to the rest of the world. South Asia has this unique culture, driven mostly by mothers, right? Parents, but mostly by mothers who look after their kids. But along with that, sadly, there's this unnecessary attachment that comes along with from the parents. So they project it, and they project it in a negative way unknowingly to you, to a little kid, to a boy or a girl. And you've been made to believe that certain things so you actually you're scared to walk out, to do something unknown, to test something new, to go to a crowd, etc. You're scared because in our culture we have this whole thing of parents make their kids scared of something. Don't go out, especially in the dark. We all have this in the household, right? Don't go out in the dark. There are some ghost, some weird creature who's gonna, capture you and take you to some other place and make you work like a slave or things like that. I've heard since I was a kid and all over the society, right? It's all subcontinent as well. What happens is the parents do that to protect their kids. So easy for them because they have to go about their duties. If the kid is running around in the darkness, it's going to be a problem. So to stop that, they've created that. I understand that. But unfortunately, it really crushed the spirit of our kids, and we grow up Sphere of the unknown. We don't want to experiment. We're scared. The innovations, the new ideas, the entrepreneurship, everything is crushed because you've been scared. You've been made to believe there's something dangerous out there in the unknown. So what I say is to the new parents who's watching this, millennial parents, I want you to teach your kid not to be careful, but to be competent. Don't be careful, be competent. That's exactly what you should be teaching your kid. So if you go out in the darkness, there are dangers because you can't see. There could be a snake, there could be someone, there could be other problems that can injure you. So be mindful, be vigilant, carry a torch. So when the moment you tell someone, be careful son, be careful son, be careful son, what actually happens is that you corner him, you really make that person weak in front of the society, in front of the world, because you are going out thinking that I have something to be scared of, because that's why I have to be careful, right? If I have nothing to be scared of, do I have to be careful? No. So it's attached with, there's something bigger, something that overpowers me, something that's threatening, something that I'm incompetent to face. That's why I have to be careful. So that's why I have eliminated that word completely. So in our culture we have, even in the Western world, we have this, go on that trip and take care of yourself. Be careful, take care of yourself. No, be competent, be vigilant, be mindful. That's how you should go about it. Those are the words that you should teach your kids. Now, if you've been brought up from this, now you have to liberate yourself. We're going to get into that. But we're going to go a little bit deep, just a little bit deep, scientifically backed, to see what are the causes that actually haunting you to create or generate this social anxiety in your system. Now we need to understand that this social anxiety is obviously a form of fear, but fear of speaking, fear of doing something. This fear, did you know that it's actually in your genetics as well? So let me explain. Now there has been an experiment conducted by so many researchers. So one of the researchers, they have taken mice. As always, they experiment with mice. So they've done this experiment. I'll tell you very quickly. They have done, they sprayed a cherry blossom fragrance to these mice, and simultaneously, they have actually given them an electric shock. So the mice will, obviously, mouse run away. Little mice, they run away. And then after some time, they have stopped the electric shock, taken that away, just sprayed the cherry blossom flavor, and they will still run away. They still get scared exactly the same way they would get when they get electrocuted. Right? So that's interesting. That's probably not very surprising for most of you. But here's the most surprising part. When these mouse get baby mice, now these baby mice, they never had the electric shock ever. When they spray this cherry blossom spray, they will still run away. They still get really entrenched with fear. They will run away, right? So clearly, this fear has been passed down by their parents. Now, coming back to our problem, social anxiety in our society, a lot of the memories of our parents, of your parents, it's called parental olfactory, right? So with the senses, the smells, the taste, the fragrance, the touch, the locations, situations, etc. If it has been happening for a lot of time, if they have some sort of a trauma that they carried out, probably not even your parents, probably your grandparent, it's gonna pass down to next generations, right? You might feel really helpless when you hear this, but listen to the rest of the thing, because there's a solution for this, and you can liberate yourself. Don't worry. So keep watching this. So now, for Asians, at the beginning I said Asians have a distinctive, unique problem when it comes to social anxiety. I'll tell you what. The entire subcontinent, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, these lands were subjugated to the European invaders, correct? So 1500, the Portuguese came to these lands, then the Dutch were controlling for a long time, and then finally the British. In the interim, there are French also, they're floating around here and there. All these Europeans who actually, this whole different story, I think I've done a video, sales mindset. So this age of enlightenment caused them to liberate themselves, Europeans, from their problems, and they've gone so far, they developed themselves, they venture out to this part of the world and started conquering these lands, done various nefarious activities to control these lands, and then they left. So they actually didn't leave, they left a lot of mark. Among those marks, a lot of damage there caused by them for the future generations to come. So one of the things is that, especially when during the Portuguese time, they were kind of controlling these lands for about more than a century, they've conducted so much of violent activities. They've punished, they suppress society in so many different ways. The same thing was conducted by the Dutch and also the British. British actually drag India to poverty. There are so many reports, research, and even the British themselves agree in their historians that they've done that. Now imagine you have a generation who's been under these kind of influences for nearly 300 odd years, actually more than 300 years. And so your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you can go up to about 10, 12 generations being subjugated by the Europeans. And you've been made to be submissive, head down, bend over, right? And they've done all sorts of things to your generations. Now, guess what's going to pass down? All this fear, that the fact that you feel that you're inferior, that the fact that you feel like you can't do something global, gigantic, the fact that you can't dominate, you can't speak up against any system. Guess what? It's been planted, it's been conditioned for more than 3 centuries. So you need to understand this is what causes you, part of it, to be anxious when you're speaking in public, and especially with this kind of situation, no matter what qualifications you have, when you go abroad to get a job, when you go abroad to promote your products, to market your business, etc., guess what's going to surface? These things to surface and start haunting you. It'll never put you in the same equal ground, definitely not put you in a superior ground, it'll put you in an inferior ground. So you'll back off. You look left, right, and center, there's no help, because problem is actually in this root cause. So it's absolutely important in that case that you figure out what's my family history along with this entire common problem that Asia has. Now that you have understood that, you need to understand that what's my family history, meaning just as much as the South Asians are so entrenched with thinking of these astrological predictions, etc., if they put so much of energy, invest their time and money to think about the history of their family, it could have done so much good than anything else. Okay, look at your parents, look at your adults, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents. What were their weaknesses? Were they alcoholics? Were they smoke addicts? Did they have any traumatic experience drowning? So you also scared of swimming now, etc., etc., etc. So look at their weaknesses. Did they have really bad financial mismanagement in their running in their family? All sorts of things. If you really look at it, you find out, that's why I have a portion of it. So like I said, when you understand the problem, it's actually half dead. The rest is easy. And I'm going to show you what exactly to be done. Going back to this historical problem, the European subjugation and all these colonial problems. What we need to understand is Sri Lanka, India, and the entire subcontinent, we were kind of the first to be civilized many, many millennium years ago. I think there are carbon tests they've shown 15,000 years of history. You have Dwaraka, known as the city of Krishna, extremely old city, like 5,000-6,000 years, probably more. My dates are flawed, but definitely many thousands of years. So these lands, the people were civilized, very strong, advanced, brave, right, spiritually extremely advanced, the intellect, and they didn't have this thing called social anxiety for sure, I believe. And they sailed everywhere all over Asia. So all sorts of things that we had, it's actually in our genetics as well. And it's somewhere deep inside of you. It's somewhere deep inside of you, dormant. It's our job to awaken what we want. So going forward, you need to bring this called epigenetics. If it isn't genetics, by epigenetics, or the way we behave around our genetics can actually record this problem. And you'll set the tone for you as well as the future generations to come, your children and so forth, for them to liberate this problem from this problem and rule this world. So I want you to step up and understand, okay, so first of all, inject yourself with empowering identity. Understand that we're from an extremely superior civilization and we have that resonating with us for thousands of years. That's within ourselves. It's just like 200-300 years wouldn't actually stop our journey. It's just that we are made to believe that something else is superior than us, which is actually a myth. So by understanding that, giving yourself so much of enormous respect, giving yourself so much of enormous identity, credit, projecting yourself, my future is brilliant, it's actually great, incredible, I can be the anybody out there, I can be that hero, I can be that extremely successful entrepreneur, leader, sportsman. We can be as strong as anybody, physically strong, mentally strong, we can get there. So understanding that and giving that identity is the first step to kill the social anxiety from you. Secondly, I want you to bring this notion of when you're scared, ask yourself, why am I exactly scared right now? Why am I exactly scared to speak to this person, to speak to these people, do this pitch? Why exactly? Ask yourself why? And you might give you direction to the root cause. I believe I'm not competent enough. Well, anybody else is competent there? Yeah, probably not. Probably they don't even have the skills and the knowledge and expertise that you have, not even half of it sometimes. So nobody's perfect. As a person, as a leadership coach, have coached managing directors, chairmen, CEOs across probably every industry by now. There are so many industries except for rocket. So many industries by now. I have seen they also don't know jack shit. They only know very few things. They've done it so long in that industry. They know about the threads. They know about the manufacturing. They know about something. And they've gone all the way up and become a director or chairman or whatever. When I ask 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, they are speechless, clueless, completely lost. So don't overvalue the society and undervalue yourself. So going forward, I want you to tell yourself, I am not going to overvalue the society and I'm not going to undervalue myself. I don't even mind if you overvalue yourself, seriously, mate, because I rather have you in the self-esteem side weighing more, or you might be slightly more egoistic because your problem is not ego, your problem is actually the opposite. So I don't worry about that. Raise your standard about your self-esteem, and definitely do not overestimate the society. And then carry a beautiful, empowering story. Tell yourself, if you have come this far in your life, you have had struggles, you have doubts, you had failures, you had disappointments, frustrations, bring that. That's my personal thing that I bring. I deliver a speech in I deliver a speech so many places, but I bring a national IT conference in front of about 850 people, industry leaders, and so it's been commissioned by the president as well, that entire event. So when there, you get a slight bit of nerves, right? It's just before a speech like that, because you don't do that every single day. The story that I brought was, look for how I've come. Imagine the struggles, the pain that I've gone through in my life, the things that I had to face. I had to figure out so many things. I was in so many crossroads in my life. I was lost so many multiple times. I can't even recall how many times. So I've come this far, and I'm in a position that anybody can ask any questions and I have an answer. And our answer is probably the best, and liberate themselves from either sales, leadership, business, philosophical, spiritual problems. Look far I have come. What is this? And I really put down that situation, which is trying to kind of overwhelm me. And in an instant, it shimmed down. And then I'm in a very governing, powerful position. We'll share a little bit of a piece of that speech for you to see.
The other story we can tell, all sorts of things happen. We shrug it off and we are better than any other country. And we move forward. We can wear a smile as if nothing happened. We're such a resilient nation. We're strong. That's another story that you can tell. Not only will it empower your personal life immediately, it's contagious. It goes to the next person that you're speaking, the teams that you're governing. And when you carry Sri Lankan name and the brands to across the world, and they will test this story.
The level of energy that I brought in that speech. So people wondering how I have that energy. Guess what? This is how I have that energy. I bring an extremely powerful, empowering story to back me up in any situation. And I want you to know all the incredible personalities that you know, celebrities, the speakers, the politicians, sportsmen, etc. and they're in the world arena and performing in front of 50,000 or 100,000 people. You think, wow, these people have no anxiety whatsoever. Guess what? They all do. We'll show you some examples. Now, physical element, right? If you feel overwhelmed, using and managing your physical element, your body, is one of the most effective, easiest way to kill the anxiety or kill the overwhelming feeling that you have. Because the thing is, like I showed you, parents have passed down your fear. How did they pass down? From your body, the material, right? So elements of your body called genetics could be your system. So everything that you think, good, bad, nervous, scared, anger, everything goes sink into your body. It becomes a muscle memory, right? It affects your nervous system. So your problem is actually, it's in your body. This is the problem now. It goes very quickly into your body. Your palms started sweating, you started shaking, and you feel paralyzed. You can't take action, right? So change the body. We'll show you a couple of examples. Now, one of the things that most effective is, it's so super easy. Hence, people might not even want to do it. I want you to try this. If you just jump like kids would do, right? A kid wouldn't think twice to jump. And we become adults and we think it's something awkward. Actually, no. It's going to do a lot of good. If you just jump for 30 seconds, for the next 3 hours, you can actually control whatever the nerves that you're actually running through your body. So when you jump, it actually reverses. So any physical movement, I used to punch, whapa. I used to do kicks because I'm a martial artist. I've done radio shows, TV shows, etc., etc. So I remember there's one of the radio shows, I was asked to sit down somewhere, and they said like our air time, because it's a studio, we'll give you like in 30 seconds, you have to come in, you'll be inside, and we'll crack on, we'll give you the count. And in all the stations, they give you like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on air. And if it's not your day-to-day job, you're going to feel overwhelmed. So I feel like, I'm not going to perform at my best if I'm going to stay passive here, and if they're going to give a command to come inside and you have 10 seconds. So what I did was I jumped and I punched downwards. And so whatever the action, whatever the move, I call it make you move, right? What are the move that you can make, and keep it inside of yourself, like keep it around your belt, a little bit of a tool. I can punch, jump, kick, whatever. Stationary prints. Most of the time the jump would do. So we're going to show J-Lo, who's been performing consistently, incredibly, looks super duper confident in every aspect of her life. And look at what she does just before the performance. And this is Dwayne Johnson, the other person, right? The Rock, the big guy, looked extremely dominant personality just before shooting a movie. And this is Tony Robbins, the great Tony Robbins, just before a self-confidence guru, right? The guru for everything. So look at what he does just before, behind the stage. He has a trampoline, so do I. And that's a whole different segment I might do about trampoline, but he jumped and he goes into his seminar.
Now he's out on stage. Tony's clap is probably the most infamous throughout the world.
So all these global giants, if they do it, and if you don't do it, you know what's the problem there, right? So the understanding that I want you to have is that everybody has a little bit of anxiety. Everybody has a little bit of stress that actually trying to haunt them, waving at them. So it's not that it'll be, eliminated. You might have a little bit of a dose of it. It's just that even that, you can chim down super easily if you just incorporate this very basic, very easy to incorporate physical element. So this is going to liberate you. I want you to try this and let me know how it works. So this is the entire story, guys. I want you to watch it again. If you watch it this far, congratulations, well done. You have a real need to liberate yourself. I want you to know that I'm with you, right? And I want you to know this is not a big problem. You're just a couple of decisions away. And watch this again and incorporate this kind of language, incorporate this kind of behavior, and it's going to liberate you. So well done for watching this video. Throughout the time, I salute you, congratulate you. So I want you to watch, look out for the next videos to come. We're going to have, because what I've saw was, if you want to become a leader, you want to become a successful entrepreneur, businessman, you want to live your passion, all sorts of things. But guess what? The most of the trouble is like your personal development, right? The speaking, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your consistency, productivity, discipline. These are the problems that haunt, and people have inner conflicts. People have superstitions surrounding them, springing from, in these lands I speak about astrology, springing from past karma, springing from all this religious incorrect teaching. Those are things that haunt people, which is not being exposed in the corporate sector. They're not going to go to corporate world and say, look, I have this problem, limiting belief, superstitions, that's why I can't do more sales. So this is why my bread and butter, I'm here to help and expose them. I know it's echoing in you, so this is that this channel is all about. So well done, and I'm going to see you again very soon in another video. Hey, this is Ramindu Randeni. I'm a business coach, corporate leadership coach, and I coach sales forces.
Who are we before the world?
And welcome to my channel.